All right, I think we are live, Michael. I think we are on the patuta, as our good friend likes to say. Good
Every
morning, Michael.
day.
Mate. How are you?
Good morning. Good to see your face, Vinnie. New York Vinnie's in Seattle. I'm in LA. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you haven't caught us, you've caught us today. Nice
Yeah.
catch.
If you haven't caught us, so you can't say you haven't caught us anymore. So catch up with us.
You can't say that no more.
That's the only time it's going to come out like that. How are you this morning? What's going on weather-wise down there? Is it scorcher up here yesterday? Supposed to
It
be
was
another
a
one today.
it was a scorcher here, Vin, and it's going to be another one today. I think our highs will be 96 degrees.
Yeah,
It's
I don't think we hit 96 here. I think the city hit 96.
at at
We're a bit north
this
of the city, so I think was nice and hot.
and at 18 past 10, it's 85 degrees in Pasadena.
Yeah, I don't even let's see. I haven't even looked. I've been on the phone he's been on the phone most of the morning trying to ascertain.
I have 72 degrees for Seattle, going for a high of 86.
92 in Spokane, 93 in Pasco. That's weird.
What about Washtugna?
94 in Harrisburg, Chautauqua, 80 in Cleveland, 72 in Seattle, 88 in New York, and 72 in Edmonds right now. If it's scheduled to go up to a high of 82 today, so that's not. I'll
What
take
bothers me
that.
the most is we're having bad air with it, and that keeps me out of my power walking.
Yeah, yeah, the air here is so far hasn't been affected by the fires that are raging in the central part of the state, but one quick shift of the wind and it all changes. How very quickly it changes, as Joe Biden said.
I would like to know whose turn today was. Nancy Pelosi's turn to say something to Joe Biden in terms of, well, we really got to make up our mind here. We haven't got much time. The clock is ticking. I thought every time someone says, Joe, the clock is ticking, he says, I'm running for president. Oh, okay, great. Next day, someone says, Joe, just want to point out to you the convention's coming, the Republicans have made up their mind, and the clock is ticking. Well, I'm running for president. That's all there is to it. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and what do they say? Joe, you've really got to make up your mind. And so do we. We've got to come to an agreement. We have to do what's best for the party. I heard yesterday an example of what's going on, and that is Joe Biden is sleepwalking into a landslide. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I know that he hasn't had the luck to perform in the polls for months now. I think he said the other day the best you've seen was that he was tied. Well, he's not tied anymore. So, this time that we're waiting for, this deadline that's coming, this daily examination of Joe's situation, always ends with another person asking the question and Joe saying the same thing. I'm going to try my best, and that's all I can do.
Well, and that's where he lost a million people. Right there is when, when democracy is on the line, as it is, and the more about this 2025 project, the worse it gets. The group of people that are being assembled at Mar-a-Lago to run this country, should these people win, uh, the more scarier it gets. And I don't believe that Joe Biden. Listen, I love Joe Biden. I like the guy. I think he's a great guy. Uh, you know, um, uh, as I've said many times, when I met him, he took time to talk to me. He was a human being to 2014 Joe Biden. or the
There's another
2017 Joe Biden or 18 Joe Biden.
another man and another time.
George Clooney has a bet out today in the New York Times saying that the Joe Biden that he saw at the fundraiser that they had in L.A. a couple of weeks ago was not even the 2020 Joe Biden, and certainly not the 2016.
Who said that?
George Clooney.
Hmm.
Clooney and Rob Reiner this morning called for Biden to step down. Clooney is probably carry a lot of weight because he's a major fundraiser.
Also, it's time that we examine the idea that for all his well intentioned campaigning, in this condition, he cannot beat Trump. And that means that spells disaster for the planet and for us first, and then the planet shortly thereafter.
Yeah, when you look at what he wants to do to Social Security, what he wants to do to Medicare and the different programs
And NATO
and NATO and to women's rights,
and the border.
not not just not just abortion, it's birth control, and I mean they literally want to. And I mean they not only do they want to make pornography illegal, but they want to put the people that produce it in jail.
So that would be porn prisons.
So you're talking about a bunch of radical right wingers. It's like the John Birch Society. When you see the people that are standing up there, the Carrie Lakes and the Roger, why am I forgetting his last name? Roger Stones, the Michael Flynns, the Vivek Ramaswamis of the world. When you see the people that are on board this train, it's downright scary.
It's a hellbound train.
And you can't let that happen because things are going to happen in this country.
And trying your best is not enough.
And yeah, it's got to be better than your best. It's got to be you got to up to it. You got to be up to the travel. You know, on one hand, he says, "Well, I want to be, I want to be president." He says, "But I don't want to do anything after 8 o'clock at night."
Got to have my sleep. Got to have my beauty rest.
How do you come up with that? How do you first of all how do you say it publicly? And second of all, how do you? And this is not about an age. And I know the latest thing we've seen thrown out there as well. Mitch McConnell froze up 2 times, and nobody asked him to resign. Although people have been asking Mitch McConnell to resign almost since the day he got elected. So let's not.
For different reasons, yes.
Yeah, for different reasons. No, this is you have an eminently beatable Donald Trump who right now look he's going to get waxed or he's going to wax Joe Biden.
And the funny thing is, Joe, for all his experience, has never been able to take it to Trump verbally, daily, on the stump speech, nail him down, call him on his lies, call him on his porn stars, call him on everything, and do it one after the other and nail it home day after day. He can't do it. He hasn't done it. It's a fault of his, and he's got to learn from that. But it's too late for him to pick up any new tricks.
Yeah, I don't think he has to learn from anything, Michael. I think at this point he should say, I'm going to turn it on. I mean, I hate to say it's a gamble, but I think that the gamble is less with Kamala Harris running for president right now than it would be with Joe Biden.
And
Uh,
Joe's got this
uh,
terrible habit of repeating everything he says. He says, look, but he doesn't tell you to look at anything. He says, folks, just to get his mindset on what he's going to say next. He says, and by the way, and Joey, my dad told me, Joey,
well, one thing that I've noticed,
over
I
and over
think is
again.
interesting, is when he's reading a speech and he gets to the end of a page,
Yeah.
he'll lean on something until he gets to the next. Like he'll do the,
Mm-hmm.
he'll get one of those phrases, sayings, one of those cutesy little things. He'll get to that and he'll use that until he gets to the next page.
And he's got a terrible habit of saying something, you applaud, and he goes, no, I mean it. Like we doubted you for a moment there.
Yeah,
Stop the fuck saying that.
yeah, and I don't want to listen. I want to pile on Joe Biden. This is not a happy time. This is not a happy thing to see happen to anybody, especially to a guy who has done has done what he said he would do.
Right.
I mean, he would come in as a bridge candidate, as president, and get us to the next generation. But as we all know, once you have that job, it ain't easy to get you out of it.
No.
You know,
Even Willie Mays didn't want to stop playing baseball.
yeah. Nobody wants to stop playing baseball. Nobody wants to stop racing a car. I mean, it's a competitive. But when you have the number of people of importance that are telling you uh, that we need to that in essence you're not up to the job, and maybe he wins. Let's just say for a second he's right. Is he going to last 4 years?
Right now, that's the a question for down the line. Only because Vinny, the question is, can he beat Trump? And right now, all things being equal, the answer is no. On paper, he can't do it.
Well, you need a mortal lock here. That's what you need. You need somebody, and you need somebody who can bring in disaffected Nikki Haley voters. You need somebody who can bring in um, the people who are that are in the Republican Party, or not even necessarily even in the Republican Party, but the people that are looking at this, gang of I don't even know what you would call them here.
Lunatics?
Yeah, right wing nut jobs saying, I may be a conservative. I may be somebody who doesn't believe that abortion should be legal, but that's my opinion. That's not the country, and you have to bring those voters together, and
Yeah,
you have to have a plan, and you have to be able to remember the plan without a teleprompter.
I'm worried that the only person that could tell him to stand down would be Barack Obama. And I don't think he'll do it.
I don't agree with that. I think that's the ace in the hole that they're holding. I think that by the weekend, that if it isn't his, it's going to be Barack taking a trip up to the White House, or meeting him somewhere and saying, Joe, we need you for the good of the country. We need to revitalize. Even if you stay, it wouldn't revitalize the campaign enough
No, won't change the
so that you
reality.
get past we're 13 days past it, and we're still talking about the debate. The debate going away.
It can't go away.
That fiasco is not going away.
It's the one thing on the planet that shut up Donald Trump. Actually, he pulled out of campaigning because it was so effective and such a negative.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I mean, even Donald Trump is smart enough to know not to be seen, although he was out yapping his mouth last night.
yeah,
Um,
he broke silence last night.
yeah, yeah. He's emboldened. Well, he's got his convention going. So
I think when he picks a vice president, it's going to be none of the three. He's going to say, "These are the three people that everybody says I'm going to pick. I'm Donald Trump. I don't do what everybody says. I'm going to pick somebody else. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it's going to weaken the ticket."
I'll tell you what, man. I got a dark horse for you.
Who dat?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
She's a dark horse. She's a dark entity.
She's a governor. She's loyal to him to a fault. She's not going to try to upstage him.
She's
She
lied many
believes what he
times on his
believes.
behalf. She's lied so often on his behalf.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, and she's there's a lot of those Midwest states where she would probably do okay. And I think he needs to soften his ticket. I think that two guys running. I think it would be much better for Trump had a woman on the ticket. You can say that she doesn't have the experience, but I don't know. I think probably say that about Kamala Harris as well. I mean,
Well,
she
she
hasn't
was at
been
least a
a governor, she's
senator.
been a senator, she's been a DA, she's been a prosecutor. So there's more, and plus, but that's my dark horse. Dark horse. You heard it here first.
Well,
That
it's not a bad
he
guess.
would look at her and feel that loyalty that he needs to feel. Donald Trump.
I thought he would pick somebody from the 4chan territory, like Flynn, or somebody that's a
Too
criminal already.
controversial. You can't. I mean, out of that whole group, maybe Ramaswamy because it gives him color. It
Yeah,
gives him a bootlicker.
that's true enough.
But I think that at this point, I mean, if Carrie Lake would have won one of her elections, she'd probably be the favorite. But she's got nothing. The Republicans don't even like her anymore.
She's a negative.
She's yeah,
Even
yeah she's she's on the list of people who have destroyed themselves. With number one being Giuliani.
well, she took the Kool Aid and she did it willingly.
Well, she's one of those people who took the Kool Aid and tried to create flavor.
Her own flavor, Carrie Lake purple.
Yeah, it wasn't just that she took, but she came up with and said, you know what, I got to have my own flavor of this stuff. And so there she sits.
On the outside of the
I don't
jug that she
think
makes
she's going
a
to get nominated. I don't think she's nominated to run for. I don't think she's going to wind up doing anything. I think she's going to be a fart in the breeze.
yeah, you're right, because she's losing in Arizona.
Yeah, she's losing. She's going to lose big in Arizona, and yeah, I just don't see her. I think she's aligned herself up enough with Trump that she's just phony. People see through her. People
That
see.
is,
I mean, people that I've talked to. Uh, I mean, she's even turned against the Republicans in Arizona. She did something. I think the Republican chairman, I forget who it was there, but there was some dispute between the two, and she came up with some videotape of him doing something bad. I mean, she's a real loose cannon who, like a Marjorie Taylor, grew up at nothing to get her
and
name.
it's so odd that she's a factor because she was a television host. She had no political experience. She thought she could act her way into it in a sense that she could just assume the right pose and be poised and say the right things and deny the right things and lie about the right things and distort the truth. And that was the extent, the full extent of her talent. And it never grew beyond that, and it still hasn't.
Yeah. You know, the other thing with him too, I hate to keep bringing up negatives, but with Biden, how many people are going to say, I'm not going to vote for Biden, uh, but I'll vote for Bobby Kennedy? Worms and all.
That's a question that I can't answer. I don't know what the percentage of voters Kennedy's supposedly
Well,
acquired by
they
him.
say he's got about 13%.
Yeah,
They say he's got about the same as George Wallace Perot or any one of those third party candidates, but it would be enough
it would cause a mess.
to move the needle, for Trump. Now, the thing, nobody seems to be too sure who he would take votes from. There are a lot of people who think that he would take votes away from Trump as well,
Most people think that.
because the vaccine thing and looking something different thing. So I don't know. I do know that this could potentially help him to get to 15%, which would be enough to upset the apple cart.
Even though he's not on the ballot in every state, he's on the ballot in enough states to make a mess of it.
Yeah, yeah. He's on the ballot in, I think, all of the swing states. I think I read somewhere that he's made in all of the swing states,
Battlegrounds.
at a battleground state. So he's gonna, he's obviously going to, be a small factor. If Kamala Harris gets into it, well, then you got, then he becomes a less of a factor, I should
He
say.
would he would be the first day of Kamala Harris's campaign. Take Madison Square Garden and you bring everybody there. She conducts the show. I'm running for president. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's the senators. Here's the Republicans that back me. Here's the middle people that back me. Here's the governors. Here's Hollywood. Here's a musical act that's playing for you now. We'll be back with more about this. And do a Jerry Lewis telethon for 12 hours. Take over the networks. Do the live feed. Do a three-ring circus of shift and support. Obama will be there. Clinton would be there. They bring Jimmy Carter in from the hospital. And Biden has to be there to
Yeah. He
with the
passed the
whole
torch.
with the whole family to pass the torch.
He's got to pass the torch. He's got to say, look, um,
And it would
too bad we don't have a president emeritus for. I mean, you got two. Why not have two presidents? But you know, I think he's got to be made to feel like there will be a role for him. Like, it's not. We're not asking you to go away. We're just asking
asking
you to become an advisor. It's not like throw away your ideas. It's not like we're going to throw away your platform. It's not like we're going to. I mean, in essence, this is going to be a tribute to you. The person that you picked for vice president to be running for president.
and they can march around the breakfast table on the show.
And, like,
The Don McNeil Democratic Breakfast Show.
yeah, it's
It's got to be something big. It's got to be when the transition happens, and Schumer will be there, and Hakeem Jeffries will be there, and Nancy Pelosi. I was surprised at Pelosi because She created more gray area this morning on the Morning Joe show than I expected from her. Even the the left compartment of the Democratic bloc were talking seamlessly about Joe Biden. They didn't break with the talking points. They were loyal to the support of Biden, and that was pleasing to see. But if you can't beat Trump, it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah, and listen, there's just something that bothers me about all of this. There's something that bothers me about Biden's saying, "Well, I'm the only one that can beat Trump." He's not the only one that can beat Trump. As a matter of fact, there's a poll I was looking at this morning. Notice somebody that actually in a poll from Dixon and Amandi, which is a Democratic polling. There's somebody that actually beats both Biden and Kamala Harris and Trump.
Tell, who is it?
Hillary Clinton
No,
beats Trump 43-41.
no.
Harris beats Trump 42-41. Trump beats Biden 42-43. 42. I don't think that that's a possibility at this point. Um, but because the part of the point of this is getting rid of the old guard. You're saying
By bringing in Hillary Clinton, you're getting rid of the old guard.
no. That's the point of this whole thing. In fact, that you want to in, inject new into this, so you don't want Hillary, even though
Right.
she might out by a couple of points. So, but I just thought it was interesting. I think what it shows is that Trump is eminently beatable, except by one person.
Who can't remember who Donald Trump is?
You can't have a president who can't look at a guy in the face and tell him he's lying.
And Joe can't do that. Has never done it. Strangely
You can't
enough.
you can't have that at this point. You can't have it.
In fact, that's like step one in beating him. Tell the truth about his lies.
Yeah, and I think there's a really there's really something about a former DA, a former prosecutor, a former senator telling a
But
guy who, no matter how you dice it, is going to be a convicted felon on election. You
that's
can't
a
take that
first.
away, even if they reverse everything. He still got convicted of the felonies.
Right?
They reversed them on appeal, but so
I don't think that the appeal courts are willing to reverse it after a jury decision.
yeah, it's less likely that those will. But again, the whole Supreme Court immunity thing makes complicates. So, but I think that that's a good. Here's you're talking about law and order. You talk doing something to have somebody who's stand up and say I prosecuted criminals like Donald Trump,
Just like him.
just like him. I prosecuted these people. I know what they are.
I put them in jail. You elect me president, and I will put him in jail where he belongs.
unless it blows away, unless he just gets on that boat and heads for Bimini, which he ain't gonna do.
No.
Yeah, I think you have to. And listen, this is going to become an ongoing thing because as we often on this show, this isn't ending with Donald Trump. You got a rogues gallery lined up of
Of
of of of
willing
people who
punks
want to
continuing
go
the
right
reign
in there.
of.
And the Republican Party, the right wing nuts, uh, feel empowered now.
Yeah, we've got them right where we want them.
They feel empowered. They feel like their chest is out on their chest. They're waiting for this convention. They'll probably show the tape of the debate 1,000 times in Milwaukee. They'll have it on in every bar and every wherever they can put it on.
And the only way to defend against that is to not have Biden running, because that is going to be his platform. That's going to be what everyone remembers about him. That's going to be
Yeah,
what that's going to be what is going to be reinforced by the media over and over again.
and you're gonna have the the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts and all of these scum of the earth out there pushing this narrative. And I just and I think, to be honest with you, that'll be a lot more embarrassing for Trump, for Biden, than sitting on the sidelines. That'll be sitting on the sidelines. Yeah, the worst thing you could do is sit him on the sidelines.
You're going to bring him out as the frosting on all the major
Yeah, just
appearances.
not after 8 o'clock.
And also, he's a little tired around 5 in the afternoon, so we don't want to do anything then.
And he wants to get a nap. So it's interesting. It certainly is gonna be a week.
You know who used to take a nap? President John F. Kennedy would get up early. He had lunch and would take a 45-minute nap in the
I think I
afternoon,
knew that for some
right
reason.
around
I
right
think
after
I heard
lunch.
that he was a nap guy. I like taking I've come to like taking a nap at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour, half hour.
I always say that the nap takes me. If I take a nap, it comes upon me and says, "Hi, I'm a nap. You're powerless to resist me."
Well, we'll see where it goes. It's I just wish that they would be able to do this without showing Trump's picture, because every time I see him, my skin crawls.
The skin
I,
crawls, your stomach turns, your blood
yeah,
boils.
I've really come to not like this. I mean, I didn't like him before, but it really grow. It's really disgusting me now.
Well, one of the things that's in the Democrats' favor is Trump has gotten confident, which means he doesn't prepare, which means he doesn't get his remarks right, which means he
Oh,
doesn't.
he thinks thing in the bag. You already could tell it. He thinks he's got this thing,
Yeah.
and I'm sure his advisors telling him, "Don't know how they managed to keep him quiet so long."
Have a cheeseburger and have a Diet Coke. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, but I think without a doubt, he thinks he's got this thing won. He probably walked out of that debate hall in Atlanta thinking, "I'm a badass mother," and so it'll only make me feel better to see him get his ass kicked. Oh, Mikey, do you know who hit a three-run home run last?
Who hit a 3-run home run?
Yeah, hitting leadoff. hit a
Tell me,
three-run home run last night and helped his team to a victory.
who was that person?
Remember a guy named Jared Kelenic?
Sort of, yeah.
My pick to click guy I said that the Mariners shouldn't trade. Guy that I said is going to be a star for the Mariners at some point, and they just in the off season that they didn't need him, so they sent him to the Braves for a couple of bases and a bag of balls.
Bats and balls.
I don't even think they got for him. Well, Kellenick has stepped it up in the absence of Acuna
Yeah.
and hitting leadoff. He's got pop in his bat. He's hitting the ball, spraying the ball over the place. And as a matter of fact, he's hitting above what anybody on the Mariners is hitting.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, there's nobody on the Mariners that comes close to what he's hitting.
Little Atlanta worked for him.
Well, I've said it. I'll say it again.
Yeah. Something in the air.
There's
Something in
something
the air,
here,
something in the
man.
water.
There's something that people, I don't know what it is.
It's the orca in all of us.
Something that and listen, I don't know that this guy would have done this if he'd stayed here either. To be honest with you, he may be one of those guys that a change of scenery extremely benefited him.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks like another one of those guys that the Mariners traded away and will wind up being a regretful moment for the Mariners because they're going to give up some of their young pitching to get to help their offense. They have the worst offense or close to the worst. I think the A's, the Marlins might be the only worst offenses in leagues than the Mariners.
When you're being compared to the Marlins and the A's in terms of offense, you've got a problem.
They can't hit their way out of a paper bag.
Can't hit their weight.
Even though they won down in San Diego in that tough rivalry game. But
that's right, the San Diego Padres, the arch rivals of the Mariners.
The arch rivals of the they in spring training they lob baseballs across the parking lot at each other.
Oh, not that. Anything but that.
Anything but that, please. So as we race toward the deadline in Major League Baseball, Mariners are faced with once again some hard decisions.
Giants are activating 4 starting pitchers this week. They've been on the injury list. Robbie Ray among them, Blake Snow among them, and they're all coming to pitch. Blake Snow pitched last night and helped beat the Toronto Blue Jays that were hosted in San Francisco. They did it with pitching and power. Now, when's the last time we talked about the Giants and referred to any of those items? Oh, the Giants known for their pitching. The Giants come to town with their power. No, they had none of those things. And now they do. Suddenly, they have put together a completely different team. And can you imagine what it's like to activate 4 starting pitchers in the same week? That puts an extraordinary amount of energy into the team, and new possibilities open with every start.
Well, theoretically, it should make your bullpen a lot better.
Right.
Because, the guys that have been holding down keeping them close enough as they head into the All-Star. The cream of that crop is going to move into the bullpen. So you're going to have good long relievers. You're going to have one of those arms. Although I think the Giants have a guy that's close and that's doing okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but you're gonna help your bull. Second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna help yourself if you want to trade. because as we know, everybody wants pitching. So if you need to make a move to trade for somebody, you have a chip or two. If of course those four pitchers that are coming back are going to be quality pitchers, they're going to give you quality starts.
It looks good so far. It's been a long drought, and I'm I'm excited about the opportunity that this offers the Giants. It's a change of the face of the entire team, and I can't get Major League Baseball to help me out this morning.
Did you see that? You see who hit a home? Was it last night? He hit a home run. Joey Bart.
Oh, really?
I
Good for
think he's
him.
actually hit home runs in the last two games. So I think Joey Bart is making himself, making him a bit of a player to watch here.
The closer that you were trying to think of, and I couldn't think of it, is Camilo Dubal.
Yes, thank you.
And he's a big kid, 6'2", 190 pounds, and he's been throwing the ball hard. Um, it's, the interesting thing about four new starting pitchers coming to the lineup is some infielders, some outfielders, and some pitchers have to go to AAA or get DFA'd. And that takes ineffective bats out of the lineup. The guy that's been hitting 217 all year still gets to play baseball. Well, no, not when the Giants activate four new pitchers. He doesn't get to play baseball in the majors anymore. He's DFA'd or he goes to AAA. And having infielders and outfielders that start every day and can hit 225, I'm sorry, but that's not going to make it in the West Coast baseball world. Y'all got to go
You would
somewhere
make it an
else.
East Coast baseball world. I don't think it would be. I don't think it'd be. You would be. You know, the thing that we always talk about. What is it we always say? Well, it's early. It's early. Well, this week where it stops becoming early.
We got a
Stops.
situation called the All Star break.
Yeah, we're at the All Star break. It stops being early. I mean, you have another week that maybe you can get away with it, but really, at this point, you got to know what you need. You got to know where you can get it, and you just have to be able to figure out if you're willing to pay the price. And you have a week to do that, and really not because you really got to kind of beat the other teams to the punch if it's a guy that a lot of people want.
And a lot of stars are not going to the game because they need the rest and they're sort of banged up and they could use the a break that they wouldn't get otherwise with the travel and the pregame and the shaking of hands and the interviews and all the staying up late and having big meals. Not good for baseball.
How's it feel to get traded? Well, I'll tell you when it happens. Oh man, it is kind of my favorite the time of the year. I mean, I really love this. The 2 weeks where you just don't know what's going to happen. You're watching the transmission wire every day to see who's moving where.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of
So
movement
that'll
for sure.
yeah. I think this is going to be an active one. I think there's going to be a few teams looking to solidify themselves.
Get a little help.
Yeah, I think that there's yeah, I think that there are teams who aren't like the probably would have been sellers a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
But all of a sudden,
an
things
injury
looking
here.
around,
Yeah,
probably looking for a bat.
and it changes the complexion of the team, and the front office changes gears and said, we're going to go another direction.
Well, you would have you would probably been entertaining offers for Pete Alonso, even if you just rent them out for the year and then re-sign him in the off season. I mean, I think he's going to remain a Met. I don't think he's really going to go anywhere. But if he could bring quality pitcher or two, or a decent hitting infielder, which it seems that they need, uh, uh, doesn't it doesn't break your heart to see him in somebody else's uniform for.
They're paying Bobby Bonilla. Maybe he could come by and drive the convertible around the stadium before the game.
I'm sure he has his suite there in City Field. I'm sure he can come out anytime he wants. His deal. Or maybe they give him a suite at Shea Stadium. Yeah, you stay out there in the parking lot.
They used to love me here.
They love me here. Listen. What else? What else would people be talking about if they weren't talking about Bobby Bonilla? We you heard this power slap
Power slap app.
sport that's going on. It's, I guess, a part of the C family. So I guess the thing is, um, how hard can you slap somebody? Can you knock them out with one hit?
Oh yes, I got you. I know what that is.
Can you fracture somebody's skull?
Slap
Now,
them
I've never
silly.
seen it, but this is the eighth one that they're holding. Um, and there are a lot who are saying that it probably should be banned.
Because it's so bad for the brain.
They found 3,500 people that would go and watch it.
They found them, huh?
And when Vasil Kasky, 360 pounds, 34 years old, he's a plumber from Siberia.
I don't want him to slap me.
He's known as Bling. So he hit 6-year-old Kamil Marzusars from Orland Park, Illinois. Hit him so hard he went right downtown. Somebody yelled out that he was still breathing, so people started booing.
They wanted him to die. Yeah.
So this is what's going on. This is what's passing as sports right now in
Well,
beautiful Vegas.
remember the games that they used to do here in Rome during the time of the gladiators. Same thing. That guy got eaten by a lion. Is he dead yet? Nope, he's still breathing. Boo!
Didn't hard enough, and the bombing picture is this woman who's holding a T-shirt. It looks like somebody made it on the ironing board of the Crazy Hawaiian.
Who's the crazy Hawaiian?
Got no idea who the Crazy Hawaiian is. but 7 billion views in 17 months. They call it the Power Slap League. They're dominating on TikTok and Snapchat. 1.5 million Instagram followers in 2024 so far.
Power slappers.
Power slappers. Slap fighting was once a shapeless contest of trading open-handed blows until you knock somebody. The commissioner of the Slap League, the Power Slap League, has established a set of rules.
Well, first we have the league, and after we get the league going, then we'll institute some rules.
Yeah, we got the league. We got uniforms.
We got the crazy Hawaiian.
We got the Crazy Hawaiian, the pig farmer. I don't know about you. It had Spolpakia written all over it, man.
We got the big Siberian guys. If Shpopakia can't take down the Siberian guy, I'll eat this hat.
There is actively working with the Nevada Athletic Commission to come up with rules and see that the sport is regulated and safe.
Is there a guy in Shpopakia named Tiny? Because I think Tiny can do this.
The only guy I know in Spolky and it's named Tiny is Big Tiny Little.
The piano player.
Yeah, he plays piano. It's the only guy I know in Spolky named Tiny.
I think with the hands that he's developed as a piano player, he can put down that big bear from Siberia.
He could probably lay a slapping on some. We used to play something like that. We'd play this game where you'd put your hands together like this, and you'd hold them out in front of you, and then somebody would stand across from you. And you would try to get their hands, and they had to pull their hands out before you slap their hands.
There's a game called Slapjack where you put your hands. I put my hands out like this. You
Oh
put your
yeah,
hands
yeah,
out like that. Then you have to come
yeah.
over the top.
Same kind of idea.
You're right.
Although I remember that this hurt a lot more than that. It's only so fast you can turn your wrist.
I played Slapjack with my grandfather, and there was no way that I could win. He got me every time. And he would tickle me underneath, just like, "Oh, I'm coming." And so I put my hand back, whack.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's just one of those games that are. Well, I guess this takes that to the next level because you're hit somebody in the side of the head. I don't know.
Down the middle.
It doesn't give me a lot of faith in America that this is a sport that the Nevada Gaming Commission is thinking of approving.
They're going to have it on the 7th floor at the MGM Grand. It'll be. They won't tell you what room. You have to listen for the crowd. You have to listen for the roar.
Sounds like you could have this in the bus.
Port Authority.
I guess you have to. Okay, we have a photo here. This is in the New York Times. A photo of Vern the Mechanic Caffey about to slap Austin Terp Daddy Slim Turpin.
These guys got to work on their nicknames. They don't roll off the tongue.
Yeah. Terp Daddy Slim isn't exactly. It's not like Rogers Hornsby or Art Starr.
Smokey Burgess was really good at this
Burgess. Game. Who's the Rocket Richard? You know, those names had, Terp Slim doesn't approach that.
Broadway Joe.
Yeah, there's a certain rhythm and cadence and wonderful rhythm to those names. Vern the Mechanic sounds it's authentic.
Yeah, it's a little.
I mean, you could imagine you could take your car down and get it worked on by a guy named Vern.
Don the Snake Prudhomme.
Oh, I love that name. That name, man. Shirley Cha Cha Muldowney. I got it leads to an interesting question. I mean, what really is the greatest sports name ever?
Hoyt Wilhelm.
I'm sure you could pick one out of sport.
Well, Mickey Mantle was pretty good.
Yeah, Mickey Mantle was. The double and just the way it laid out, it was long, but it was short. Yeah. It was rhythmic, but it had a little chop to it.
And you could shorten it to Mick.
Mick's up next. It flowed. It flowed well. I mean, one of my favorite has always been William Landingham. He was a two-shirter. You needed two shirts to put his back of a shirt.
Well, I like. He didn't play ball, but he was part of the game. Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Yeah, the commish, first commish. Yeah, it's always got to be good if you got mountain in you.
Vinegar Ben Mizell.
Great name. Great name. Vinegar Bend Mizell. I mean, really, can't go wrong with a name like that. Vinegar Bend. Yeah, I mean, some of the old names that they gave baseball to was really, um, um, I mean, there was some great names.
Stretch McCovey.
Yes, that's okay. If not unimaginative.
Right. But he was just so, he was taller than most. So
Yeah.
it made, obviously.
But and then I guess you have to. Well, and that's of course you always have to delineate. Do you want to? Are you going to talk guys natural given names, or are you talking about nicknames? Because
Yeah.
nicknames come up with a lot of interesting names, especially in the early days of baseball.
Well, when the Giants came to town in 1958, among their coaches were Salty Parker and Peanuts Lowry.
Yeah, Salty wound up being the manager of the Mets.
Cup of coffee.
Let's see. After Yogi Berra, I think. Or was it Westrom? No, I can't. But he came with Westrom,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
and I think Salty wound up. He was only the manager for a week or something like that. But he was a forgotten guy, but yet he was still a manager of the Mets for a week. Salty Parker. I love Peanuts Lowry. A great name too.
Was I the manager of the Mets for a week? Because I can't remember.
I didn't ask him. He should know.
Call him, yeah.
He'll be sorry, but it's 8 o'clock. We can't we can't disturb him. How, if that's even true, how do you admit that?
You never tell the truth about that. And by the way, I got to take a nap. By the way, it's past my bedtime.
Yeah, how do you who's the I mean, we got a bunch of idiots running things over there. I mean, because you got the guy that let Biden go out on stage. Then you got the next guy who decided to tell the press, well, the president says he doesn't want to work after 8 o'clock at night. Well, what happens if the country is attacked? Call Harris. See what idea she has on it.
Can you leave a message? The president's asleep. Yeah.
We'll wake him. Well, maybe what you ought to do is get that movie, The Longest Day, and you ought to watch that thing.
Won't this still be a tragedy in the morning? Won't it still be vital that we wake him up? We could just let him sleep until then.
Well, what was it? Did somebody say he was dead last night, so he'll be just as dead in the morning, right?
He should be. Should be.
He ain't going anywhere, that's for sure. Yeah, that's so I don't know. I don't know if much influence George Clooney is going to have. Although, from what I understand, Clooney and Soros have a tight relationship, so that might needle. But yeah, I think you made a great earlier in the show is that it's going to have to be either his wife or Obama.
She seems to be in the same denial he's in.
Well, she's a fierce protector of his.
But you got to be real about.
Well, that's what you're doing right now. They're not looking at it.
We're coming to conclusions that are not based in reality.
Right, and to be honest, I mean, I guess you want your president to feel like he can't beat it, right? I mean, the reality is you don't want somebody who says, yeah, I guess I had one bad debate.
But was Adlai Stevenson completely astounded the next day when he lost to Eisenhower? Was Ronald Reagan, stunned that he beat Jimmy Carter. Didn't they know what was happening? Didn't they see it coming? Did
Oh,
wasn't it all?
I think Carter. I think they knew it. I think Carter knew it. I think I think the country at that point, there was nothing. I mean, Carter, and it was sad because Carter had gotten out by Kennedy
Yeah,
in the primaries. He didn't run unopposed. He didn't wasn't like he had an automatic until the convention.
right.
I mean, he got bounced around, and you kind of knew.
He got beat because of the hostages, the Iranian hostages.
Yeah, I think it was deeper than that, though. I think if I remember this right, and I was probably a lot less interested in it then than I am now, because I think Carter will wind up being one of the more underrated presidents that we've ever had because he had a lot of. He was a great secretary, or a guy who'd been Secretary of State,
Yeah.
uh, and certainly one of the best ex presidents we've ever had. But I remember, when Carter went to Washington, just always reading stories about how Hamilton, Jordan, and all of those guys went into Washington with this
The
kind of arrogance,
the peanut farmer mafia.
right, that they were gonna change things. And they found out that Washington doesn't work like that.
And Jimmy was a bit of a micromanager. He couldn't give a job to somebody else. He had to do it himself.
Right, right, right. He was on top of things.
And
Wanted to be
that's how
on
you
top
burn out.
of everything,
Yeah.
and so it was a recipe for disaster, especially when you had somebody in your own party challenging you. So you split.
Yeah.
We're in a bad situation already. Was made worse by the desert, the failure of your rescue mission.
What a mess that was.
I
They
mean,
killed each other.
people forget what a. I mean, you got to give them credit for trying. I mean, they were up against the wall. Wasn't much they could do.
Well, and they failed at even the cursory attempt.
Yeah, yeah, and we tried.
Failed spectacularly.
They just couldn't. They couldn't do it. I mean, it was an indication of how screwed up we were in the '70s.
Well, we got 118 days to the election, and we are in disarray. But fortunately, both parties are in disarray. Trump can't fight off a true challenger, and the Democrats don't have the balls to pull the trigger on this.
Well,
It's a perfect storm.
yeah, it really is. I mean, I just I'm just hard pressed to see, going back to Biden, uh, before we wrap it up. I'm just hard pressed to see how he wins it if he's in it.
I would love to see him recover. I would love to see him get his energy back. I would love to see him put the best foot forward. But that's not the way aging works. You don't recover from things like that. You don't get better. You have to be realistic about it. And right now, the Democrats are being many things, but not realistic.
Well, I think more and more Democrats are. I mean, I think that um I think it's sinking in to many Democrats. And listen, to their credit, you don't want to just give them the bums rush off the stage either.
No, he's got to make him the emeritus, just like you said, president emeritus,
But I
with
like
an
the
office in the
idea
White
of
House.
a special somebody being there, because then you can also campaign on continuity.
Right, exactly. Good point.
You're paying on, okay, well, Biden got us here, and now we want to continue work. So not only do you elect me, Kamala, for the next, maybe the term after, but get in there and give us a Congress
That we
that we can
can
get these
make some
things
changes.
solidified. Let's codify
Right.
its
Roe
health
v.
care.
Wade.
Let's get these things done so that it can, we can continue the work that somebody like a Donald Trump, not going to be Donald Trump, but somebody like a Trump can come in and undo everything we've done.
You've given me an idea about a step forward, a way forward, a path through the mess, uh, a course that we can plot to get to victory. And thanks for that, Vin. I see some daylight, but we have to act on it. And
Well,
politicians are traditionally
it's
unable to act so often when they need to.
yeah. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's going to have to come down to, like you said, it's going to be it's either going to be Doctor
Yeah.
or it's going to be Barack going going into him.
Let's see what happens before the creek rises on Friday.
Yeah, let's see if yeah, I don't think if they were going to do this, I wouldn't do anything until Wednesday.
Let the Republicans go first.
Let them get one day under their belts, and then the night that Trump is making his speech,
Make the announcement.
make the announcement right up against him. You trained out of this. Yeah,
That's right.
everybody would be going. Who's in Milwaukee?
Let's get the timing right. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, just sock it to him. I mean, you couldn't pick a better time than when doing his acceptance.
Let's do it that way.
Accepting the nomination on what I think Wednesday or Thursday he'll probably accept the nomination, and that'll that'll piss Trump off too.
That'll make me happy. I haven't been
Yeah,
happy for since
which will
the
make
debate.
my life a whole better place to live.
Love you, Vinny. See you Friday.
See you Friday, man. Take care of yourself, Michael. If the Lord's willing, the Christ will catch you on Friday. All
What
of
a
you
wine!
guys, peace, love, Manischewitz.
I'm
Have
telling you, it's a
uh,
fabulous wine.
have a good Thursday and rest of Wednesday.
See you, Vin.
See you, Mikey.